The winter at Valley Forge was a very serious situation. George Washington led his troops to camp during winter at Valley Forge. In 1779, George Washington established winter quarters at Morganton, New Jersey. The soldiers were very hungry and cold, and some of them suffered from fatigue. After a while, they became okay and they began to be reorganized. This shows the comeback of the army. The shot heard around the world was set in Concord, Massachusetts. A shot went off from either the British or the colonist side, but no one knows which side it actually came from. 8 Americans died and 1 redcoat died, with many injured civilians. People began to pay tributes to the people who died by making poems and songs. This shows how the shot impacted all of these people.
The first poster has several redcoats with guns killing colonists, while no colonists have any weapons and are just being defeated. The point of this poster was to make people think that colonists are just being abused by redcoats. Paul Revere is the one who created this poster. This poster is directed at colonists who weren't at the massacre. This poster has a violent, misleading tone, making it seem colonists were just attacked and killed for no reason with no defense. In the second poster, it shows people in cages getting their tongues pulled. Most likely, the colonists are the ones getting their tongues pulled, and the British soldiers are pulling their tongues. This poster was sending a message that the Brits wanted the colonists to shush or stop speaking their voice. London newspaper created this poster. This poster was directed at Brits to show how the colonists feel like they are being shushed by Brits. The poster has a controlling tone. In the final poster, it shows 2 different armies from 1778 and one from 1943. They are different uniforms, but they are both protecting their country. This poster sends a message that American soldiers are strong and their strength did not weaken over time, since it shows American armies very different times but still fighting for what they believe in. Bernard Perlin created this poster. This poster was directed at rival countries to show America won't be taken down easy. The poster has a strong, powerful, confident tone.
Female nurses did mostly custodial work, feeding and bathing patients, emptying chamber pots, cleaning hospital wards, and occasionally cooking. But they were exposed to diseases and hazards, so they would be either threatened or forced to be nurses. They were promised full rations and an allowance since not many women wanted to be nurses. Soldiers. Women were not allowed to join the military at the time, but women still served as secret soldiers during the Revolution. These women usually disguised themselves as men by cutting their hair, binding their breasts with bandages, and giving themselves masculine names. These women were usually young, unmarried, and poor. They joined to earn money for their family and to fight for America's independence. Women had a significant influence in the war, from petitioning to crime and individual acts of battlefield bravery. Women didn't get enough credit for their achieving acts of bravery and intelligence. For example, nurses came up with new inventions to help care for patients. Esther Reed raised $300,000 for boycotting British goods and making her own. Women stepped up to produce the things that could no longer be easily imported, like cloth, bullets, flags, all to support the colonists. Hoping soon that traditional barriers around women's perceptions would change, many women who were left home to tend their husbands' business affairs and property began to relish the extra responsibility and to view themselves as successful managers, thereby widening the scope of what was considered women's work. They started many groups like the Daughters of Liberty and Republican Motherhood to gain education, pay, and laws so that they would be independent. Protests were made to make sure that they would be heard.
Disadvantages of America. First off, fighting against the most powerful military in the world was a big obstacle. Difficulty raising enough money for supplies for troops was also an issue. They also had to fight against soldiers which were well equipped, well disciplined, and well paid, also well fed. Disadvantages of Britain. They had difficulty with supplies in order to fight. Military orders, troops, and supplies took months to arrive to their destinations. British had a difficult objective, which was to persuade Americans to give up their claims of independence. British also disagreed on whether the war was necessary. Advantages of America. Battled in America, which made it easier for them to know the areas. America had more superior weapons with more range and accuracy than the British weapons, which gave them a huge advantage. They had more experience because of the French and Indian War, which made them more aware of what improvements could have been. Advantages of Britain. Very well trained, followed, equipped, and had exact orders they followed very closely. Navy was the best in the world. They also protected coastlines and supply lines. Had enough funds to hire foreign troops from Germany, also known as Haitians. To that, British soldiers were trained professionals. They were all well equipped with plenty of ammunition, good muskets, adequate food, and uniforms. Even though Britain had all these advantages over America, the Continental Army were still able to pull through and defeat the British. One main strength was the patriotism of people like Joseph Martin, who were willingly able to give their lives to defend the ideal of a country based on liberty and democracy.